So when I read the title A Devil's Deal, definitely didn't expect any of this. How's everyone doing today, guys? My name is C Codes, and this is The Bad Batch, episode 11, A Devil's Deal. And I think this is my favorite episode of the series so far. And I think for some people, that's not a bad thing. I mean, for me, it's not at all because the Bad Batch is only here for like a few minutes. That's not the reason at all. It's really because I like this little origin story we got for a huge character in Rebels, that being Hera Syndulla, and even Chopper. I love Chopper in this. Glad to see he has barely changed since what he was like when Hera was just a kid, as we saw in Rebels. But I did find this interesting how we get to see things going on from outside the Bad Batch's perspective, with obviously the Empire taking over, and you have systems and planets who are pretty much deciding, well, the Empire is here and they're promising to protect us, but is that really a good thing or a bad thing? And for Hera's home planet of Ryloth, that is the question that they face, because on one hand, yes, this is an empire that's come in and taken over, but at the same time, they've spent so much time fighting. Is that a bad thing that the empire is now keeping them safe? Like, that's the dilemma they're faced, because as we've seen in Clone Wars, Ryloth has had some fun with the Clone Wars, so for them to have peace for once is rather intriguing. But of course, at the same time, yeah, it's like, do they want that? Is that what it should be? And for Hera's father, right now he just wants everyone to be safe. So that includes obviously his daughter, who is voiced by Vanessa Marshall. And I'll just say right now, I think part of it is because she had to do with her accent. Vanessa Marshall being a young Hera, she really pulls it off for me in this episode. It took me a little bit of time, and by a little bit of time, I mean, like, it didn't, like, when I heard her first line, I was like, that's not Vanessa Marshall, right? And then, like, as we heard a few more lines, I'm like, oh my god, that is Vanessa Marshall. She's doing a really good job with the young Hera voice. Because when we had Kanan, or Freddie Prinze Jr. do a young Kanan, it was a little obvious. But I really enjoyed Vanessa Marshall here as the young Hera. She's more energetic in this episode than she is in Rebels. But one thing I really did like was how she was so fond of just everything that was flying. Like, she would look up to the sky and see these ships fly by, these creatures fly by, and anytime there's mention of her in a ship, she would get excited. And even when the Bad Batch ship came in, like, she was so mesmerized by it, like, she couldn't believe that there was another ship like that. And I like that. I like that little detail, because in Rebels, she talked about how when she saw all the Republic ships come in to help free her home planet, she dreamt about becoming a pilot. And so I really enjoyed how in this episode we do see that. And you don't even need to have seen Rebels to know that. You pretty much are presented that here. You see just those visuals of her looking up at the sky, and you're like thinking, oh wow, she must really like flying, she must enjoy it, she must want to be a pilot or all that. It's like, that's exactly what we get. Because here in this episode, Ryloth, being under control of the Empire, has a little bit of a rebellion going on, and that's from Hera's uncle, who I thought was voiced by Greg Baldwin for a second, the guy who does Uncle Iroh from Avatar and Legend of Korra. I thought it was him for a second, but it's not. I was hoping it was, because I was like, that would have been an amazing cameo to have, but it's still great. He's still, I think, I mean, I already forgot who voiced who in this episode, but whoever did Hera's uncle, I thought he sounded really cool. I thought the way he tried to teach Hera all the different things like flying, and obviously the fact that they're doing this dangerous move against the Empire, and that is smuggling weapons to Ryloth, because the Empire had asked Ryloth to surrender all their weapons to keep them safe. But in all reality, the Empire is just using the planet, and eventually, we know what's gonna happen to Ryloth. So, for now, it's just you got these little hints of foreshadowing for Rebels and all that, but it's still a really good episode. I like this little sidetrack in my mind, because this doesn't really concern the Bad Batch that much. You know, they just come in to deliver the weapons, and you get, obviously you got Hunter and the team talking with Hera's uncle and all about all this. Obviously Hunter even points out that this is a dangerous move that they're doing, but they don't care. But they're not worried about that. All the while Hera is being led into the ship by Omega, getting the tour, and Omega is showing her around, and like she's so mesmerized by the spaceship, and she's even said that it's her dream to be living on a ship in space, and like and I guess it's just so cute to see Hera just full of wonder in this, like, because in Rebels, she's the pilot, she's an expert pilot, she's like one of the best pilots, so she's very stoic, she's very strict, but of course she does have her funny moments and moments of wonder, but it's rather scattered throughout. So they have pretty much have her for nearly this entire episode be that was really cool, really nice, and made sense for her character arc, because when we're younger, we have a lot of moments where we're just mesmerized by something, and it's nice to have that. Okay. But yeah, for the Bad Batch, it was pretty much just a cameo in this episode in my mind. But again, didn't really bother me that much. And whether it was the intent of having an episode like this where the Bad Batch was barely in it, who knows? But after all that, they go back to Ryloth. But unfortunately, they didn't really keep the idea of them having a rebellion a secret, because the Empire had a suspicion that there was something going on, and they had Crosshairs track their ship, and he was able to track them down, which led to this pretty cool canyon chase, or gore, whatever it was. The ship goes down, and then obviously you have Hera, and then everyone on crew, they get captured, so then of course that forces Hera's parents to come and rescue her. And they come through the canyon. They take some speeders in a pretty cool way. Like her father's got a speeder that he just knocks off the troopers with. Oh, and completely forgot, there was another there was a clone who was here, and what was his name? I think it was Bauer or something. But I don't know if it's because his inhibitor chip hasn't been activated by Order 66 yet, or maybe it was removed. But he doesn't seem like the other clones. He's very caring. But he knows how his limits. He's like, sorry, I got to do this, or sorry, this is protocol, I have to do. But he's got humanity in him. So I'm wondering what's exactly up with it. Like, what'll happen if he runs into a Jedi? Is that when he'll snap into Order 66? Is he immune to it, like, or has the chip been removed? Like, there's a few questions about him, but he's very nice, and for this series especially, to have a clone that's very nice when it's outside the Bad Batch, it's actually kind of odd. But I didn't mind that much because it's nice to see a nice clone again after what we've gotten. So yeah, but we have this really cool canyon chase. You got some really good lighting in this, because it's dusk, it's turning into night. You got all the dark shadows, and then you got the blasters lighting it up. You got the lights on the walkers, and the transport, lighting up, and it's such a cool little sequence. But of course, it all ends with Hera's parents rescuing her, and they get everyone. And Rampart is there as well, and he has the Senator of Ryloth there as well, and it seems like Hera's father, finally has realized that they need to be fighting back, and he believes that the Senator Ryloth is the traitor, you know, because everything he's done up to this point is just to benefit himself rather than Ryloth, as every politician is, I guess. But luckily he is able to hold himself back and not shoot the senator. But unfortunately, Rampart doesn't care and has Crosshairs finish him off. So it seems like it's him who killed him, and so he's able to capture Hera's parents for attempted assassination, which I found rather odd. I'm like, attempted assassination? Like, wouldn't you have just said assassination unless you want to, like, make it seem like they have a chance to be cleared or all that? I was like, why attempted assassination, right? But luckily, Hera and Chopper are able to escape, and who knows where that comes. But yeah, this was a pretty fun episode. I was a little caught off guard by the fact that there was very little Bad Batch in it, but at the same time, I didn't really mind because the story focused on Hera and how pretty much not just how she kind of grew through this, but how her father and how Ryloth was going through this process of the Empire taking over. So, like I said, you know, Rebels really does show the aftermath of all this, but maybe if we do get another episode with Hera and Chopper, that'll be great. Maybe we'll get an episode with Zeb. That'll be awesome to see. Maybe we get an episode with Sabine. That'll be really intriguing. Or maybe we just get an episode of Mandalore in general. That'd be a really interesting episode to have, especially now because, you know, they had the Siege of Mandalore for the finale of Clone Wars, so what happened after that, right? So, a lot of questions, and we'll see what happens. So, yeah, that's all I got for this one. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. And if you want to subscribe. You don't have to. I'm just saying. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next video.